Under this new legislation, businesses convicted of selling synthetic marijuana or bath salts would lose their retail merchant
license.
certificate for 1 year.
They're out of business. They can't operate. Close the doors.
John Buncich, let's
That's
come
good.
back to synthetic marijuana.
You know, a year ago, remember I came here it was about a year ago, February, when we started, I noticed this stuff popping up. We got complaints about it and everything, and started hitting places, and the amount was unbelievable. And then we brought it up at our HIDA meeting, and then DEA started to get more involved in it, and it was, still around here. Then we had those lazy cakes, those laced brownies and everything else, and public attention to it. And then I started to get calls, remember, from major media, Indianapolis, even as far south as Florida and everything else. People started being aware of it. I met with legislators and other law enforcement officials, and thank goodness this is happening now. That's the way it should be. And, we did a lot of efforts in that. And again, people weren't realizing that the kids were buying this stuff. It was, under the counter at convenience stores, gas stations, whatever, in some of the better areas again, too, not just in the urban areas. And then they're trying to figure out, why is my kid acting so violently, come home and for 7 days he's violent. And then remember we said we had an outbreak bringing him into our jail. And it was costing thousands of dollars trying to treat these individuals. And we couldn't get a handle on it was till we're figuring out what these salts are and everything else. But, some of it's still out there. As a matter of fact, I had a briefing last week from some drug officials that it's still being distributed in some areas.
209-845-1100. Let's go to line one and talk to Lake County Sheriff John Buncich. Rick on line one. Hi, Rick.
Yes. Sheriff, I'd like to know what you would like to do about these gang recruiting these kids in front of these schools. Can you beef up the security?
Yes, we have. We've been meeting with school officials, and our gang units make it a point to go around the schools and check that area, because that's what they're doing. There's one city in particular that does a lot of that recruiting and a lot of violence occurring in and around schools. I won't say which urban area that is, but they come around early in the morning when these kids are trying to get into school. They're hanging around at lunchtime. A lot of them have closed campuses, which is good. And then right after school and everything. And it leads to some violence. There's some outbreak of fights and that sort of thing. But our units are out there, and we identify them, we stop them, and you'd be surprised how many weapons these individuals are carrying on them when they're running around the school trying to intimidate some of these kids. And again,
I live in Hammond, and I've recently been seeing a lot of county sheriff cars around, and if that's the case, more power to you, and stay busy.
You got it, always.
Thanks a lot. Really? I mean, they're really like hanging out after school?
Yeah, that's what they're doing. I mean, they're intimidate, you don't want to join a gang. Dilo doesn't want to join my gang. I'm going to get you when you come out of school. You want some problems, we're going to do it. I'll do it right here on the street or whatever. It leads to violence. And a lot of these kids don't want to go to school. They feel intimidated, and I don't blame them. Hey, the guy going to pull a gun on you or threaten to kill you or whatever. I mean, it's happening out there. And again, I pointed out, like I'm always talking about it, that everybody got to work together. The schools, law enforcement, I don't care what it is, and the parents and everything else. We got to get these kids into these schools, get them a safe environment, a good education, and the only way it's going to happen is everybody works together. It's happening out there. Reality, it is. You talk to me out, they think, it's the sheriff talking about doom and gloom and horror stories and everything else. No, it's happening out there. Wake up.
209-845-1100. You want to talk to Lake County Sheriff, and you are on the air, Charlie.
Yeah, I was wondering, if they ban smoking in Indiana, does that mean jail too? Because that was never mentioned, that they were going to let them people smoke.
There's no smoking in the jail.
Got a certain spot where they let them go smoke, or
the inmates?
Yeah.
No, they don't smoke. They don't smoke at all. No smoking. We get a lot of contraband, and there are a lot of problems with visitors bringing in contraband, trying to sneak cigarettes in, cigarette lighters, matches, and everything else. That's a constant battle. There isn't a day goes by visiting and everything else. I'm going to touch on that, too, about visiting, because we're changing that, which is a good thing. No visitors are going to be coming into jail after we get this remodeling done. We should have it in place by October.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great.
We're going to have, now on visiting day, we have visiting virtually every day of the week in some of the bigger sections. You're bringing a lot of people in there. You got to do the searching, and then after they leave, you got to search, you search the public bathrooms in the lobby of the Lake County Jail visitors area. And after visiting's over, I mean, we got to go through all the garbage. You'd be surprised what we find. Cigarettes, marijuana, even heavier type of things, cell phones, yeah, it's just a constant battle, a constant war. So what we're going to do is we are remodeling. We got the commissioners and the council to go along with some funding. By October, the construction will be done. We're going to have strictly video visiting in the lobby. No visitors will enter the jail, and we'll be able to have better control and better for security and everything else for the officers. And they want to visit with their loved ones. We're going to have a screen. They sit in the cubicle, look at their loved one on a screen, and talk on a telephone. So
Yeah, if they don't like it, they shouldn't have been there in the beginning.
You're darn right. We've been trying to pull this off. I mean, it costs a hefty buck, a few $100,000, but hey, it's going to pay off in the long run for everybody.
All
right. Hey,
that's
thanks.
all I wanted to know.
Thanks
All
a
right,
lot,
man.
Charlie.
Thank you.
So now people can now people come in and they actually come into the jail.
Yeah, that's the way it's made up now. Yeah, you want to come visit me in the jail? I'm on the third floor or something. You check in. We'll search you, give you the wand and everything, the metal detector and that, and get on the elevator, go up to the third floor. You can visit with me, talk through the window
In
and
your
everything
cell?
else.
In your cell?
Yeah, there's a window where you can walk out of the area, the cell area, but there's no actual contact and everything. But if you want to, a lot of times we find this stuff that it's taped where you're talking to the inmate, taped underneath the counter or whatever or something, or that sort of thing. And you have it where the females, they'll bring in contraband in their private area, where you can't really search them thoroughly when they walk in the door and everything, and then they leave it. And then, unfortunately, they may have somebody do the pickup and try to get it in a section, like a trustee or cleanup guy or something like that. I mean, it's cat and mouse game, day in, day out. I've been in this, like I said, 40 years. I worked 20-some years in that jail. You always got to stay one step ahead of them. Yeah, it's never easy.